Hey, my name is Michael Clay. Coming to you with a show that's called Cutting It Up with Michael. I started wanting to grow food because can we really understand if something is organic when we go to the grocery store? But if I grow it in my backyard, I can guarantee that I'm not using any chemical fertilizers, I'm not using any pesticides, and it's just better for my family. Mm, oh my, it tastes like it's sweet as mess. Really? And I've always enjoyed cooking. That is one of my biggest thrills and joy of folks seeing me cook. Well, not seeing me cook, but actually enjoying the food that I cook for them. So why not grow my own vegetables to ensure that I can do this? And in this show, we're going to bring you, different aspects of it. We're going to talk to you about gardening, which you can see I started growing some vegetables and some fruit. We're going to talk to you about cooking. I'm going to give you some cooking tips and just life ingenuity as it is to help you each and every day. If a vegetable doesn't look as good as we expected it to, you'll see it. If a recipe doesn't come out like the way we thought it would, you'll see it. And then we'll learn how to make adjustments. So you'll know I'm a no-dig gardener. I've come to understand that building up the soil is the best thing. And you can take bad soil and make it into good soil to grow plentiful and healthy vegetables. We can start with a tour of my garden, or how about a history of my garden? I moved into my neighborhood probably back in the 1990s. Had no interest in gardening or whatever. I used to spend all my time trying to make grass grow. Come to find out, that's not a big deal either, because what I'm eventually trying to do is get to a place where I have a food forest. Yes, where I can actually go in my backyard and get all the vegetables and the fruits that I need for daily living for every day of the year, not just in this growing season, because we in zone 7A here in my part of New Jersey. So this will be coming from an aspect of being in New Jersey, and because I haven't seen many shows in New Jersey. I've seen them all in Seattle. I've seen them in Washington State. I've seen them in the South. But our growing season is different here. Our growing season usually don't start until the middle of May, and sometimes it'll go to October. Sometimes it'll go almost to November. But they don't say that that's a short season, but that's a short season to me. So the first thing that I like to talk to you about are these two garden beds over here. This is my blueberry plant that originally started about 4 to 5 years ago. Again, my daughter-in-law come to the rescue, gave me two more plants. This is one, and it's starting to plant. You know, it takes blueberries at least 2 years to start, and another one over there, but it's not. It doesn't look like it has taken, but look at the blueberry plant, and the reason I'm excited is because year after year I was only getting maybe one container of these blueberries, and this year this is so heavy that it's bending down because we put this netting on here. So you know what that tells me? The birds were enjoying the blueberries year after year, and we weren't. But by putting this netting on, we have saved the blueberries. So we're going to have a good blueberry harvest for us here. As you see in the front, these here are onions, and it's rainbow onions. I have some red onions, I have some yellow onions, I have some white onions. Can I tell you which ones they are? Yeah, once I pick them out. I have no idea right now. But what I'm most proud of is these sweet potato plants. These are where I got the 2 organic potatoes from the supermarket, grew the slips inside, put them in water to develop roots. When I brought them out here, there were maybe 2 or 3 leaves on each one of the slips. Well, look at where we are today. So that's hopeful. As you see this expanding, the roots are expanding underground, and the roots are developing. I didn't say tubers because they are not tubers. They are actually a root crop. They're not like regular sweet potato. And this is the original bed that we had, and it's been expanded. As you can see, the companion plant. I got blueberries, I got onions, and I got sweet potatoes here. Then I come over here, uh-oh, and I have my collard greens. This is actually 7 plants of collard greens. And again, everything started from seed. I have harvested from here. I'm going to take out, when I see the yellowing leaves at the bottom, I discard them. And some people say compost. I don't compost them. I throw them out in the yard, and when I cut the grass, they'll be cut down to mulch. And that mulch will help the lawn. But as you can see, after 7 pickings, this is what I gotta come out here and do. So I guess we're gonna have some collard greens tonight. And as I told you, my Brussels sprouts are over here on the other side. And as you can see, well, maybe you can see, maybe you can't see. Yeah, you can see it. I put these PVC tubing to make sure that it had a support as it grows. And as you can see that it's beginning to grow, and you can see all of the Brussels sprouts beginning to develop. Little small Brussels sprouts are beginning to develop on each stalk of these, really prevalent all the way through. Beets, I don't know if you can see. I'll move this back. See the beets in there? And when you see this, cabbage moth beginning to enjoy. But I don't have an infestation that's that bad. Years past, the leaves were so terrible eating, you almost didn't want to eat the collard greens. But you see the beets, and they are developing. So we should have a successful harvest. Then I'll go out here to these raised beds. I actually planted a hanging basket with marigolds and a hanging basket with nasturtiums, and let's see what we get from that. Hopefully that's going to look good, but the marigolds are beginning to look good. That'll be able to be hung up soon, and I need to weed it. We got weeds growing in there. We don't need weeds competing for the nutrients. Here in the front here, I got basil. I have dill, and see, I told you I'm doing companion planting this year. I'm doing herbs also with the vegetables. So I got dill in the front and the back of this because they still ward off pests. You can see these are carrots. I've had a whole row of bok choy that I have harvested, and and later on I'll show you how to make kimchi. I made kimchi from it, and I have radishes that were here. I think I might do a succession planting and just do it over again because I enjoyed it so much. Here we have a new variety that I never heard of. I was listening to a gardening show, and this is tomato plant, and it's called Tasmanian chocolate. Uh, it's a brown and brown and black, or kind of burgundy, burgundy outside with a red inside. And I have 2 of these in containers, and I have 2 in the bed. And as you can see, and you'll notice that we have some tomatoes that are beginning to flower on each plant. It's been hot here. It's been 90 degrees for the last 6 days. So if you see the curled leaves, that's them protecting themselves from the sun, and the blooms drop off when it gets there. If you can see in here, the blooms are dying out because of how hot it was. But you can see all the new ones developing, so I'm encouraged by that. Also, these are regular potatoes. These are red potatoes and Yukon Gold. And yes, I decided to try to put them in the same pot. I'm anticipating success. You know why? Because I'm looking at the flowers that are developing. That's a good sign that it is growing some tubers. Remember, not like sweet potatoes. I'm just growing some tubers underneath there. Here is the famed San Marzano tomato for your spaghetti sauces, for your lasagna. I see a lot of flowers, but I only see a couple. And these are actually two plants that I planted together in the same hole. Don't ask me why I did it. That's what I did. Had to come and tie these this morning because they had bent over. So we're going to see if they're going to be successful because it didn't break the main stem. It just actually bent it. But we'll see if it broke below ground. And another San Marzano tomato, and it's looking very good. I'm looking at tomato development all the way up and down the branch. And in this one, you'll see I got kale here. I got cilantro in the back, and I have nasturtiums. And I've told you a couple of times, nasturtiums here is edible. This petal is edible. It is peppery, which they said. I almost don't want to take the flower off because that's one of the only few ones we got. And the flower is edible. It's sweet. And I'm kind of shocked by that. You know what? That's actually good. Now I'm waiting on other flowers to bloom. I'm not ignoring it, but I know you see my marigolds there. Marigolds, keeping the pest away. But I got California. There go California bell peppers. You know, the ones that go from green to yellow to red. I have a pepper here that's called Pizza My Heart. It's a little red pepper that's kind of spicy, mild taste. And I got my famed jalapeno peppers here, all in the same bed with the San Marzano tomatoes and the Tasmanian chocolate tomatoes, and the marigold companion to keep up the pest away. And this is where I got bold. As you can see, that's are my grape plants that are here. This is the one I ripped all the vines and grape leaves off. This one is recovered, still waiting on this one. So we'll see if it will recover or I just need to plant. And grapes takes 2 years for it to become plant. When it first starts coming up, we're gonna train it and we're gonna take the grapes off and the leaves off. And we're not, and you know, that's not eaten for the first year. And then after that, we're gonna have grapes. I'll show you the compost bin because one of the compost bin has a cayenne pepper, another jalapeno pepper coming out of it. So that to me says that's successful composting because it got hot enough for a plant to germinate without anything being planted in it. And that's my little short tour. Today we're going to do a grilled garlic pork loin. The ingredients you will need for this recipe are onion powder, cumin powder, garlic powder, Italian seasonings, fresh sage and basil. Guess where we got ours from? Our garden. Garlic,
lemon, thyme, salt, and fresh cracked black pepper. Let's get started. All right, let's take off the silver skin. We need to make sure we remove that silver skin because that's not going to melt when it's cooking. So we need to make sure that it's removed. Now that we have removed that silver skin, let's cut some pockets where we can stuff the garlic and the onions that we have just chopped up. What you see me putting on there now is my homemade garlic oil. If you want to purchase it, you can go to the website at cuttingitup.me. And then you see some other specialty oils that I have created. Then let's put the seasonings on. Now remember, we don't season just one side. Turn it over so that we can season the other side because we want it to taste good. Now take everything and put it inside the Ziploc bag and put any leftover garlic, the onions that you sliced originally, put them all in the bag along with the leftover spices and mix it well. Make sure that it's distributed all throughout the bag so that it can really permeate the meat. Then we're going to put it in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours, but it's going to be much better if you let it stay for 48 hours. And then we'll move on out to the grill. As you see me pouring the coals, I'm putting them all on one side. That's because we're going to do indirect cooking. That rub that you see me putting on, that is also for sale at my website at cuttingitup.me. Let it cook for 60 to 75 minutes. temperature, which should be between 145 and 155. Those are some mysterium flowers that I got from the garden. Enjoy.
And that's the first show. Join us. I want you to go down below the video and join and subscribe to this channel. Is that the right thing to say? Join and subscribe?